Race 4 at Randwick is the Carbine Club, and we do have a short price favourite here over the mile for the 3-year-olds, and that being Swift Falcon. Tyler Schiller, Michael John and Wayne Hawkes for the Hawkes team. So he comes through the right races to win this. Now his pattern makes him a hard enough horse to catch. He will be out the back here, but it's only a small field, dry track. He'll be given the chance to balance up and launch late, and we know he's a horse that can rattle off a very fast closing split. So Evaporate, he goes in as the second pick, 2, 1, 5 and 8. He looks a logical danger. The market says as much. Now he comes through some deep races himself. 2 starts ago, he wasn't beaten all that far by Mr. Brightside. In a Group 1 Weight for Age race, he went across to New Zealand. He started $2.50 in a Kiwi, and he didn't disgrace himself. He ran on into second, so he looks to settle in front of Swift Falcon, so he does get his chance on the map. Outside of that, you've got Shangri-La Spring for Gabe Waterhouse and Adrian Bott, a horse with a great record and a great racing style. There's not a lot of speed on paper here. He'll go forward, strips fitter for that first up run in the Canberra Guineas, and he'll look the winner here at some point. And then you've got the filly, Brigidine Gal. So she's back in journey from 1900 metres. Blinkers first time. I don't mind that for her because she is a filly with a turn of foot. But Swift Falcon, hardest to beat. The market's got it pretty spot on here. 2, 1, 5 and 8. Race 5 at Randwick is the Country Championships final over the 1400 metres. A great concept, this race, where all these horses come through various qualifiers from around the country tracks, and this is grand final day. Gallant Star, he's at the top of betting, and rightly so. So numbers 1, 14, 3 and 8. Jason Collett knows this galloper well. He has gone to a whole new level at his past 2 starts. He ended last campaign a big winner of the Barn Dance, where he came from the clouds and ran them down to win by 4, 5 lengths. That's also how he qualified for this race. He returned, albeit in a race that he was entitled to win, but he was ridden like the best horse. He went straight to the front, and it was pretty much a glorified barrier trial. He was in a different grade to those. So he looks a warranted favourite for Brett Robb and Jason Collett. So into varsity, the stable have a strong hand here, Leah Gavinrich and Paul Massara. So she is probably the lesser fancies of the 2 stablemates, but I think that's wrong. I think she's got a really good profile for a race like this. She was a good winner there last start. She'll put herself into the race. She's drawn a nice gate, and she's a lightly race mare, winning 4 of her 7 career starts. And then you've got the Matt Dunn trained pair. Tribeca Star actually beat Fukabana to qualify for this race. He has since turned up in Queensland, where he had no luck whatsoever as a short price favourite. So overlook that. The stable are pretty astute, and they'll have this pair. Cherry Ripe, Fukabana, he's drawn wide. He needs a few things to go right, but he too is a very talented horse on his day and does find Blake Shin. But Gallant Star, the horse to beat, 1, 14, 3 and 8. Race 6 at Randwick is the Group 1 size for the 2-year-olds over the 1400 metres. A number of different ways you can go here. I know history does suggest that your Golden Slipper form typically provides the winner here, but I've gone a bit of a different way. I've gone the way of Vinrock through the VRC sires in Melbourne. I like the style of this horse for Mark Zara and Matt Laurie. So 3, 9, 1 and 2. He goes forward, he makes his own luck. He's undefeated to this point in his career, and I think there's a lot more to come from this horse. And looking at the likely shape of this race, I can't find a lot of pressure on paper, so he gets his chance to remain undefeated and make it 3 on the bounce to kick off his career. If there's a roughie, it's the impeccably bred Federalist. I'm Invincible Arcadia Queen. Had no luck whatsoever there at Newcastle on debut. I know we're talking maiden form, but he probably should have won that race. And if that was the case, all of a sudden, he's a lot shorter than what he is. So I don't want to score him down in that regard. Team Hawks have got a really strong stable of 2-year-olds at the moment, and I think he fits in somewhere. Rivellino and Woden, they both come through the slipper. They were both strong late. Rivellino profiles particularly like a horse that'll relish the 1400 metres. Just couldn't keep up in the early stages of the Golden Slipper over 1200 metres, but he's worked through the line. Says he's spot on for this. And then Woden has to overcome a bit of a tricky gate, but he does appreciate being ridden conservatively, bide your time, and given last crack. So I guess that's in his favour to some extent. 3, 9, 1 and 2. Race 7 at Randwick is the Group 1 TJ Smith Stakes, 1200 metres, and a pretty strong field this year. Crack field of sprinters. So 5, 7, 1 and 8, 5 Briasa. Now this is the first time he'll race in Group 1 Weight for Age company, but he has the makings of a horse that can make the step up. So he's lightly raced. He's a winner of 6 of his 8 starts. He was fantastic in the Galaxy there first up. Just got way too far back in a race that he simply couldn't win. The pattern was against him. You wanted to be up towards the inside. He had to fan widest, and the Rose Hill 1100 metres doesn't really cater to back marker. So a different setup here. He can settle closer. 1200 metres, use the draw Randwick. He gets his chance to rattle home and really announce himself as a top-level sprinter going forward. Dangers, there's plenty of them. Jolie Star delivered on that promise we know she had there last start, winning the Newmarket. She showed an electric turn of foot. She can build off that. Third up off a 4-week freshen is a nice scenario for her. Overpass, don't underestimate him because he looks to get a degree of control out in front. He's a dynamic fresh horse. Presents here first up. He's won 4 of his past 5. And first up last time in, he was an impressive winner of the Sydney Stakes over this same track and trip where he ran quite fast time. So don't overlook him. And then you've got the ever consistent Magic Time. Looks to get the right run just in behind the speed, and she always runs an honest race. It's the only way she knows how to. So 5, 7, 1 and 8 in the TJ. Race 8 at Randwick is the Group 1 Doncaster Mile handicap conditions over the 1600 metres, and such an intriguing race from top to bottom here. I'm with the class, and that is another Will. So 1, 2, 3 down the page, and I've thrown in 19 Firestorm as the likely best closer. So another Will, he carries the number 1 saddle cloth for a reason, and that's because to this point he's the best horse in the race. Now he will require a bit of a clever ride from Jamie Mellum, given he's drawn wide, but recent history does suggest that you can win from pretty much anywhere over the Randwick Mile. So if he gets that all-important cover, he will be hard to beat. And do note that he did start a $2.60 favourite in the All-Star Mile just last start, and he had no luck. So if he wins that, I think he's probably shorter than the current $8, $9 quote. So in his corner, another Will just on quality. 2 Gringotts, the stablemate, also trained by Kieran Maher. He's another horse coming through that Group 1 weight for age form, which does look the best form. He won the George Rider. That's always been a good pointer to finding the Doncaster winner, having provided 6 of the past 11 winners. He's your map horse. He's going to get a lovely spot just in behind the speed. Tom Kitten, he'll be closing hard late. Needs a bit of luck at the right time from the low gate, but he looks to be humming along quite nicely for Godolphin. And James Cummings, a fantastic trainer when it comes to getting his horses peaking for grand final day. And then you've got the lightly raced, the lightly weighted Firestorm, 50 kilos on her back, and nobody missed her run in the Coolmore, where she flashed home behind Lady Shenandoah. So 1, 2, 3 and 19. Race 9 at Randwick is the staying feature for the 3-year-olds, the Australian Derby, 2400 metres. Group 1. Aliana, she's the only filly in the race, but I think she's the horse to beat. 18, 5, 7 and 1. She's no stranger to running well against the boys. She comes through the Hobartville, the Randwick Guineas, the Rosehill Guineas, and she was an unlucky loser through that Rosehill Guineas. So she was on trial there over 2,000 metres, but the way she flattened out once she saw a bit of daylight says that 2,400 metres holds no fears whatsoever, and Chris Waller is happy to keep her against the boys and potentially dodge Treasure the Moment, who's going towards the Oaks. Plymouth, if we're making a case for Aliana, Plymouth has to be in the conversation, given he wasn't too far away in that Rosehill Guineas. Didn't have a lot of luck in his own right. I like the way that he is trending. So 18, 5, 7 and 1. Of the rest, Firm Agreement comes through the Tulloch. That's been a good recent pointer to finding the Derby winner. I like the way that he flashed home up the fence. He's not really bred to get the 2,400 metres, but the way that he hit the line there over 2,000 metres last start says that it'll be no issue. And then you've got the New Zealand Derby form. Talking of horses with no issue over the 2,400 metres, that'll be him. He just stays all day, and he's a horse with an outstanding strike rate. 18, 5, 7 and 1.